Hello, everybody. Lovely to see all of you back on Humans of HR. Another day when we are having conversation with Mr. Chand Narayan. And today the topic is extremely interesting. I'll tell you why. Because um, communication, we understand, is the lifeline behind putting together a team, working together, achieving success, celebrating success. Everything boils down to how well we are able to communicate. And when we talk about communication, it's not just a single format. We're talking about one to one to many. It could be boardrooms, it could be meetings, it could be team huddles. How do you create that conversation? And especially as a leader, it becomes important that you create a space where people feel safe to air their opinions and everybody feels that their opinion is being counted, and that's when people step forward and start contributing. And I think a lot of this boils down to the facilitation skills of a leader slash manager. We use these two terms interchangeably because that's how we look at it. So facilitation skills is what we're going to be talking about today. Extremely important. And honestly, I mean, we surely couldn't have found anybody with more experience on this topic than Chief himself. So, Chief, that's the topic. We're talking about facilitation skills. I've seen you facilitate boardroom conversations. I've seen you facilitate meetings where we have to bring people to a certain consensus while you have half a dozen options in front of you. Uh, how would you start this conversation? What do you think would be the fundamental or the foundation to good facilitation skills?
Tough one. So my quick, simple answer, and that flows from my own lived experience, is that first be very unfacilitative, be very directive, be very autocratic, and then maybe try out facilitation, and then you will need no convincing. So make mistakes when you make mistakes, and then you figure out that there is a better way. Then you feel very thankful for suddenly the light bulb goes on and you do much better. It's very satisfying.
Right. So, I mean, I understand the scars are always a great reminder of how big a battle it was, and that's when you avoid that approach. Um, but yes, the advantage of tuning into Humans of HR as a channel is the fact that we get to learn from others' mistakes instead of we having to do it ourselves. So how would you lay the foundation for this conversation?
Well, so the foundation has to be with a disclaimer that don't try this at home first, only try it later. Uh, the well, jokes apart, I think there are facilitation is one of the most powerful things a manager, a leader uh, can become proficient in. Now, facilitation, one of the key requirements is that you are very mindful in whatever situation you are, and you're trying to constantly stay mindful.
Mhm.
You're trying to stay authentic to yourself. And I guess over a period of time, what you learn is that while flow is good, you also need to become very effective. You need to have a structure. You need to have thought through beforehand how you're going to facilitate a meeting, a, a, a learning event, a discussion, uh, review. I think there is no place that facilitation doesn't add tremendous value to. What I find helpful, and I learned this from uh, a super senior of mine from XLR. Attended his session called the Tao of Facilitation, Kiran Gulrajani.
Mhm.
So, Kiran, if you're hearing this, thank you. I'm grateful. There are these six or seven, let me see how many I remember, um, in mantras for facilitators. So, hopefully, the facilitation is with a group. There's more people than you. If you're the only one and you're talking to yourself, then there's a different specialist you need to go to. But the first one is whoever is there or whoever are there are the right people to be there. And each one has a interesting corollary as well. So therefore, anybody who is not there are the right people to be not there in that group. The second one I find the most difficult for a facilitator to action or to know and to learn and to practice, which is it begins whenever it begins. So that's a difficult one. Sometimes people are in the mood to go right from the word go. And sometimes it takes an hour before people warm up and agree to get into something. And so your skill and your ability as a facilitator to understand this and allow this to happen is a difficult skill to practice and to pick up and to become good at. Because a good facilitator will facilitate something in a way that is very natural, it flows, and wherever people start, ultimately they get around to doing useful things. And it doesn't feel like somebody else has imposed an agenda on you and you didn't get to talk what you wanted to, what your agenda was, etc. So, very difficult skill to master. The third one is whatever happens is the right thing to have happened. So these are like the articles of faith of the facilitator's constitution. So that's the constitution a facilitator should live by. That whatever happens, the right thing to have happened. And therefore, whatever does, corollary would be, each of these will have very interesting corollaries as well. So the corollary to this would be whatever doesn't happen is also the right thing to have not happened, even though you may have thought about it and you may have wanted it to kind of get discussed or get talked about. Doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So what I want to point out, even within these three that we've talked about, you can see the tremendous respect that a facilitator brings to the table first and foremost with respect to the wishes of who's around and what do they want.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, then you get on to some of the other mantras, which is um, it will. So there is another obvious one, which will be it ends whenever it ends. It may not end at the end of your session conveniently. People may continue to kind of thresh this and take it back with them and choose to come back again, maybe or maybe not. So one has to respect that as well. So I think these are the 4, 5 that, if I remember more, I'll come
Well,
back.
sure. Very interesting. I can surely jump in with anecdotes of this. There are many times when I've been there for a session to deliver a session, and then there are times when there is a delay. You rush in the morning. You make sure you're there by 9, and then you see participants trickling in slowly, and then you finally start at 10. The back of your mind, what's playing is I rushed in, and then everybody is very casually walking in. And it's after this mantra that you've always spoken of that I realized that it's okay. I mean, everybody will have their reasons, and it's not my job here to scrutinize the swiping time of the participants. So it starts when it starts. And there are times when you prepared for a bunch of, so for a group size of 25 and 18 people turn up. And then there is this thing that's hurting from inside that, I mean, now you plan for 25 now to redo a lot of the planning bit of this session because 7 of them are short. But then over a period of time, I realized that you being difficult to people who decided to turn up because you seem to have a problem with the ones who did not. And that sounds pretty unfair. So people who are here, give them the best. I mean, you could have planned for 25. It could be five who turned up. Give them the worth of the time, and then you see that it flows. And honestly, things start when they start. The ones who are there are the right ones to be there. um, the ones who were not there were the right people not to be there. And logically, yes, it ends when it ends. That's very true because there are times when people go back with a lot of learnings and the churn is continuous. They reach out, they ask questions. Um, and I still remember a time when I had mentally checked out. I mean, I got a message from one of the participants later in the day asking for something. Mentally, I had checked out. I was with my friends, but then I realized I have stepped out, but this participant is still there in this session. He's thinking about something, and immediately I had to shift gears and take some time out and then respond. So yes, and while there are a couple of more points that I'm pretty sure you will gather, I still remember the first thing that you said is facilitation is not about talking, as it is about listening. So people with bigger ears seem to be better facilitators. Can you just